and welcome to my Christmas special. I know that this isn't a very Christmassy game, but I was looking for something lighthearted and funny, and I was thinking maybe a Barbie game. Then I come back on Friday home, like the 15th. I look at Steam and I find this. This is the trailer for the game. I'm gonna show it in full now because people deserve to see it. It was legitimately in popular new releases for maybe 5 minutes where I caught it on Steam, and then it was gone, and I think only, what, 20-30 people maybe have bought it. So, if you wanna skip the trailer, skip forward by approximately 1 minute and 20 seconds, and I will probably give you a timestamp. Here it goes!
Here are some cats that you could romance. I'm a walking meme machine, energy drink shots and grenadine. 24/7, I read manga, you're gonna want to join my gang, yeah.
Hi, I'm Trixie, I'm a cat. I don't think you'll be fazed by that. Crystals, tarot, parties, laughter, you and I forever after.
You will treat me like a queen, spoon-feed me coconut ice cream. Choose me for a perfect pair, but be warned, I never share.
My name's Major, call me that. You'll find I'm a faithful cat. Stand up straight, step in line, you and I will do just fine.
Come on, Cara, show me a smile. Raise your glass while over style. Come on, Cara, what do you say? We both know it's going to be a
perfect day. If you wanna get lucky with a cat tonight, then try Purrfect Date. If loving cats is wrong, I don't wanna be right. It's out now. If you try it in real life, you'll get sent to jail. But in the game, it's fine. So come for the pussy, stay for the tail.
Okay, you probably could have seen that developers really seem to care for this. They did multiple trailers and seem to be really nice people. I played through it once. It starts as this really light-hearted thing, and then it gets so dark. So I'm just gonna have my fun with it. I'm gonna do the endings that maybe I haven't done for myself yet. Maybe I'm gonna see what happens if you say certain things that I didn't because it felt wrong. So this is a let's have some fun playthrough, which will probably last the whole of the Christmas season, from Christmas to New Year, because it's actually a pretty long game. But if you want to see this done properly and see the bestest of the best ending, it's best that you do it yourself. No! Well, yeah, I mean, I finished that playthrough again. No! I love the buttons. I really love the buttons. I'm gonna start with this lady because I want to check if dateables are tied to chapters or to people. My guess is people, might be chapters, so we're gonna see. Robert. Name generator does not differentiate between male and female names. You know what? Let's be Robert. Why not? There's some Asian chick named Robert. We're awesome. This game is not as creepy as you think it is. So, let's watch. Game supports not to save feature. I'm an age on accept. I will not switch off the game while it's saving. And you get that very adorable save screen. And it's just so adorable. The game is so adorable and yet so dark. I'm not sure how long we've been sailing, but it feels like forever. I'm not feeling too well now, so it's a huge relief to hear the deck lad shout, "Island approach! Make yourself ready!" It's finally here! When I applied last month, I was just another broke student living off baked beans and didn't really think I had a chance of being accepted to be part of the prestigious Cat Island research team. Yet here it is! The little black dot in the distance, growing bigger by the second, is the infamous Cat Island, the place I will call home for the next few months. My heart momentarily skips a beat. What if there's been a mistake? What if they accepted someone else's application and accidentally sent the offer to me? I rummage about my bag until I find the papers. Dear Robert, we are pleased to be able to offer you the position of Research Assistant to Professor Popper at our research facility on Cat Island. The position will be for an initial period of 8 weeks. Your contract will be sent separately. We look forward to working with you. Yours sincerely, Professor Popper. He has a degree, only PhD bachelor's with honors. Is he listing both of his degrees, or is that what? No mistake. That's my name right there in the top left corner. Robert. And there's his name at the bottom, the genius behind the whole operation. Professor Popper, science genius and my new boss. I look up from my papers to see dry land rapidly approaching before us. It seems to be surrounded by a huge barrier of impenetrable black rocks. As we get closer, we're not slowing down, and I begin to worry that we're going to crash into them. Then, at the very last moment, we take a sharp turn to the left, and suddenly we're sailing smoothly towards a jetty through an opening in the rocks. I blow out the breath that I've been holding and break into a smile. Nicely done, Skipper! The ferryman comes out from behind the steering wheel, ignoring my attempts at commandery, and shouts rather brusquely. Take all your belongings. We won't be back for days, so don't leave nothing you'll need. Thank you. I smile weakly at the ferryman and his son and pick up my bags ready to disembark. We glide seamlessly up to the wooden jetty, and the son leaps ashore to tie us off. He's greeted by a bulky man in a uniform, who I take to be security officer of some kind. Joe. Sir, caught you a mouse. And then he laughs loudly as if he said the funniest thing he's ever heard. It's very disconcerting. The security guard remains surly and turns his attention to me. Let's be having you then. He holds out his large hand, which I assume is an offer to help me off the boat, but as I reach out to take it, he snatches it away, throwing me off balance so that I almost fall over to the side. What a great start! ID card? Oh, I see. Of course. I reach into my back pocket and hand over the laminated card I was given on the mainland. Robert! Date issued 11/17. No, this isn't being filmed on 11/17. It's filmed on like a week before Christmas 2017. He barely looks at it before stringing off, grunting over his shoulder. This way. I follow him down a dirt track path and get my first proper view of the island. It's beautiful, lush and green. I'm already under its spell. After no more than a couple minutes of trekking, we're in base camp, which consists of an assortment of tents and huts. Among them are two more solid-looking structures, one larger one and one smaller. I presume these are the labs. The whole camp is moderate but functional. It reminds me of an army outpost. I'm struck by the lack of people. In fact, there's no one around apart from an older woman sitting outside peeling a pile of potatoes. I smile and give her a little nod, but she just stares back at me. I try not to get paranoid. Here. He stopped at the largest of the tents, indicating that I should go inside. I feel rude just walking in, so I made my presence known first. Hello? A firm but friendly voice calls out, "Come!" I walk in, and there he is, hunched over some documents. The great Professor Popper! Sir, it's an honor to meet you. Yes, you must be Robert. Come on in, my dear. Glad to have you on board. Good journey. Well, long. Yes, indeed. We're rather tucked away here. Let me offer some refreshment. Water? Coffee? Something stronger, perhaps? Whiskey? Just some water if you have some? Just some water would be great if you have some. Now that's something we have an abundance of. There are plenty of safe and natural springs on the island, but we have the bottled kind too. I'm relieved as he passes me a bottle. I'm not too keen to start drinking from natural water sources until I have personally checked that they're not used as cat urinals. It will take you a while to find your way around and discover how it all works, so for today I thought I would just get you all kitted out, and maybe introduce you to some of the locals. The cats, that is. I believe you already met most of the human locals. Oh, I only met the ferryman and the security guard who brought me here. Yes, that's about it. And the lady outside? Ah, Miss Marigold. Her and her husband are the caretakers. Wonderful couple, the Marigolds. You'll meet them before too long. We're a tidy little family here, Robert, and I'm sure you fit in perfectly nicely. Thank you, sir. I hope so. Okay, so first things first, this is your basic kit. He begins going through a pile of things on my desk, explaining each of them in turn. This is your backpack, you can put everything in it. We will be going on plenty of field trips, so it will be very useful. As will your own water bottle. Some disinfectant hand spray. Ah, these are heavy-duty reinforced gloves, which are essential when tagging cats out in the wild. Don't want any scratches from felines we don't know now, do we? I suppose not. I shove each of them into my new backpack as he gives them to me. Likewise, these goggles are to be brought along on all field trips. This lot here, he indicates to a small pile of what looks like laundry, is basic uniform, lab coats, masks, stethoscope, etc. Portable first aid kit, camping fire with all the tool attachments. Finally, and without a doubt, most importantly, this! He holds at something that looks like a mobile phone, except it clearly isn't one. This is your catalog. Get it? Catalog? Catalog? Yes, the name comes from its earliest version. It was initially designed to record and store data on the cats, scan them, and log their details. But as you see, we come a long way since then. Now you can use it to communicate with the rest of our team. I've added everyone's contact details for you. Listen to music, take photos. There's even a pen that comes with it to insert microchips into the back of the cat's neck so that we can keep track of them. It's a very valuable piece of equipment, Robert, and I need you to protect it above all else. Do you understand? He's looking me directly in the eye and clearly expects a response. Yes, sir, of course. I will look after it. Good. You'll get to know all the functions as you go along, but for now I suggest we take a stroll out and see if we can't find a few friends to introduce you so that you can try it out. He hands me the gadget. I feel a bit nervous taking charge of it, but also really keen to have a go. We head down to the beach, the professor explaining things as we go. The mixture of terrain on Cat Island is quite unique. Even in such a relatively small area, you'll find forests, mountains, jungle, beaches, woodland, all of these different geological and ecological zones in one place. It's really the most remarkable. It certainly is. Even the lack of wildlife is in itself quite remarkable. What do you mean, Professor? Well, put it simply, there is a type of force field that surrounds the island, disallowing anything to enter. You mean literally anything? Absolutely. No birds, fish, or creatures of any kind can penetrate it. Forgive my lack of intelligence on this subject, but... we're here? The professor lets out a disconcertingly loud laugh. Ah, I see what you mean. Well, there is of course one small break in the invisible wall, and that is where we built the jetty. But let's not get too bogged down in all of this right now. What you need to do is to know is that basically the island is shaped like a peanut. He has picked up a nearly stick and draws a simple map on the sand. This is our end of the island. It is very well known to us by now. We've been researching here for many years. The other end is not familiar to us. We have encountered difficulties that have hindered our progress in the region. What type of difficulties, Professor? Well, we're not as sure as we'd like to be, but what I can tell you is that the environment has an adverse effect upon humans, inducing nausea at the very least. And at the worst, fainting, migraines, possible nerve damage. Gosh, that is serious. As I say, it's best to keep away, but let's not get into all of that now, my dear. You had a long day. For now, let's just say that we refer to that far end of the island as the danger zone, with a good reason. I must ask you not to put yourself at risk by venturing beyond this mountain range here. He refers to the map once more, drawing a line just past the center and the next through the end section. That's not just past the center, this is the center. Wait. Center. Just past the center. Duh. There are wild, aggressive cats out there. I wouldn't want you getting too close to them. Unlike our lovely fellows closer to home. He has led me to a spot where a few cats are lounging about. What do you say we try out your catalog now, Robert? He stoops down and picks up one of the animals, a disgruntled-looking cat, who was sleeping under the shade of a palm tree. This cat lets out a displeased meow, but doesn't struggle. Its large body, billowing with long orange fur, just sort of hangs in the professor's arms in lazy resignation. Would you like to have a go at scanning this delightful chap? I find the on switch and someone timidly activate it. The gadget immediately comes to artificial life, emanating a boop 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 noise with a red pulsating light. I select the app labeled Cat Scan and it loads instantly. There's no delay on this thing. The professor holds the cat towards me with arms outstretched. I'm sure he said the scanning chip is implemented into the back of the neck somewhere, but it's difficult to find this one's neck amidst the thick of the cloud fur. I blow to make a parting and press the catalog to his skin. It's a bit like scanning groceries in the supermarket where I used to work. That should do it. And he plops the marmalade Tom back into his shade. Sure enough, upon withdrawal, I find the cat has been successfully scanned. Meow. Fluffy butt. Male. 10 years, 4 months. Red tabby. Persian. Eye color. Red. Amazing. Clever, isn't it? A large part of your job here will be to tag and scan the cats, such as Mr. Fluffybutt here, but it looks like you'll have no problems at all in that area. Excellent work, Robert. Thank you, sir. I can't wait to get started. Well, why don't you get a bit more practice with the catalog and scan the rest of them while we're here? These 5 spend a lot of time together. They're like a little family. Aren't you? Oh, yes, you are. The professor seems to be a genuine cat lover like me. I think we're gonna get along great. Okay, here it goes. No help this time. The professor steps back. The first cat I approach is very friendly with beautiful calico markings. It comes towards me, already purring. Meow! Trixie, female, 3 years, 8 months, calico American shorthair, green. Next is an elegant, sleek, hairless cat, sitting gracefully in the sun. She doesn't pay me as much attention, allows me to scan her with minimum fuss. Meow! Snooty Booty, female, 11 years, 1 month, Sphinx, eye color blue. The fourth cat I approach is a noisy one. Meow 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 meow. McMurphy, male, 6 years, breed, brown crossbreed, eye color green. And finally, this one I've deliberately put off until the last. He's been skulking around the edges of the activity, eyeing me suspiciously, as though he could pounce at any moment. I laugh at myself, already projecting personalities onto these animals. Hiss. Kibbles! Male, 3 years old, white British long hair, eye color green. All done! I hope you enjoyed meeting some of the locals. The professor lets out a little laugh. I have a feeling you'll get to know them quite well in time. It's probably enough for your first day, don't you think? It's quite a lot to take in. I am suddenly exhausted and grateful to be heading back to camp. This is the first part of the introduction done. We're on to introduction part 2 now. I must tell you that the whole game does not revolve around this one playthrough. The whole game revolves around you playing all 6 characters. That's how it's been designed. And every single character, the introduction gets shorter and shorter, faster and faster, in order to cut out all of this empty time that you don't want to repeat. So it's quite nice like that. It's quite late by the time I've unpacked and settled myself, but I want to write my journal entry before I sleep. I was surprised at how chilly it is. I have pulled my sleeping bag right up to my chin, but I still feel goose pimples bloom over my arms. Shivering, I've rubbed them to warm myself up. It makes me smile to think that this inherent reaction to the cold is what will be keeping my new feline friends warm tonight. My eyelids close, thinking of cats and the island and the professor. The world around me drifts away as I float up into a dream with the snoring that is fit of a Robert. I'm not sure how long I've been asleep, but I wake with a violent jolt that leaves me sitting bolt upright. It's too dark to see anything, but I hear a rustling and then a strange electronic noise. One that in my sleepy confusion I can't place right away. The catalog! Acting on instinct, I scramble to my feet and follow the noise out of the tent. I look around me and my fears are confirmed when I catch sight of pulsing red light getting fainter in the direction of the forest. I snap into action, running as fast as I can. Barefoot, dressed in my pajamas, running at full speed into the forest in the dark of the night. I must be crazy. The words of Professor Purrfect ringing in my ears. I need you to protect it above all else. My legs are trembling beneath me. I stop, feeling my heartbeat heavy throughout my body. I wheeze in and out, my breath billowing in front of me in white puffs. I shouldn't feel like this. Why am I so dizzy? I try to get my bearings and realize I blundered perilously close to the danger zone. I can just make out the shapes of some large animals in front of me before my eyes close and I drop to my knees. Open my eyes. The calico cat I scanned yesterday is sitting in front of me. She drops the catalog at my feet. I pass out. Somebody probably can like slow the video down and see what the words in pink and green said, because it probably means something. This game has a lot of hidden meaning. Well, not like very meaningful meaning, but meaningful as far as the game world is concerned. Hello? Can you hear me? Are you okay? What is it? Don't be ridiculous, Kibbles. It's a human. Oh yeah, yuck. I can smell it now. Smells like a human. Oh, do be quiet. Are they alive? Of course it's alive. It's breathing, you imbecile. Why isn't it moving? Would you come on and give them some space? Move back a bit. Yes, stand back. Move out of my way. Let me have a proper look. I begin to come to. The Sphinx cat is standing over me as I open my eyes. We stare at each other for a moment while I try to take in what's happening. Is this the one defective? Oh, I feel sick. I'm gonna puke. The cats watch me intently. Am I going insane? Ouch, my head! What is it chattering about? They're scared and confused. Let me talk to them. Human? Are you alright? You! I remember! You took my catalog! Oh, but I gave it back to you! It's back in your pocket now! I tried to reach into my pocket and realized my hands are scratched to shreds. Ow, 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 ow! What's wrong with my hands? I tried to stand. Ow, ow, my feet, what happened to me? Yeah, I guess that's from all the climbing. Told you it wasn't ready for that. What's that? Ready for what? Its anatomical structure is far too delicate. I tried to slow it down. Yeah, Fluff, you try restraining a human who's that determined. It was like a margay. Its anatomical structure didn't seem that delicate to me. I was like, what? Doing what? You made your own way back to the beach. Okay, but that doesn't explain. Show my bleeding hands. Ah, you crawled, Kara. Kara? Who's Kara? That's not my name. It's a term of endearment. It's an Irish thing. It's inappropriate. Wait, it crawled? You sure did. Like a cat? Yep. All the way from the mountains. Like a bleeding mountain lion. Impressive. But why? Because you got the sickness. Shh. Maybe you should sit down, human. We need to have a talk. Possibly a long talk. Talk? Yes, that's right. Since when can cats talk? Oh, for goodness sake, since the dawn of time. How else do you think we communicate? Stop splitting whiskers, Major. You know full well what the human is saying. I think the revelation here, Kara, is that you can understand us. Yes, that too. Will someone please explain what the hell is going on here? Well, we don't fully understand everything ourselves. At least not the details of how this works. I think being stood in the forest surrounded by a bunch of talking cats is about as much detail as anybody would want. I agree. And more to the point, we were rather hoping you would be able to help us. You are the scientist after all. What we do know is that the clock has started ticking for you. What do you mean? Well, there is no way to say this to you, Kara. You'll be catified. I'll be what? Whether you help or not, you don't have a lot of time before, if I may. It would seem we are basing this on our experiences to date, that when a human manages to find themselves in what I believe you call the danger zone, they're vulnerable in the ways that previously were not. That is to say, you're screwed. You're not helping. Don't make me. Hiss. Whoa, mountain lion. There's been no violence of any kind. Forgive me for being a bit panicked here. The vulnerability to which Snooty Booty was referring, simply put, if you are bitten or scratched by an elder cat within the danger zone, you will begin a process of change that ultimately will result in a full feline transition. Whispers, catified. So basically you're telling me I'm a werecat? I look down, and in amongst the scratches on my right hand I see 2 distinct puncture marks. The reality of my situation descends on me like a cold mist. Basically, yes. My head is spinning. This is too much for me to take in. Take a breath now, Kara. You're not looking so good. What? Have I started to change? I feel my head, for ears, fur, everything seems to be normal. No, I just meant you're looking a bit shaky. Understandably so. I take a few deep, steady breaths and calm myself enough to say, okay, so why, how, what? Give me some data. What have you got so far? Look, we'll answer anything that we can, but the truth is we have more questions than answers ourselves. So you said you need my help. What exactly would that entail? Well, finding our friends would be a start. The cats on this island, they're going missing. We don't know what's happening to them, but the body count is rising and we hit a wall. A wall of ignorance, maybe. Really, how many times do I have to tell you? The Muellers are to blame. Muellers? Now, Fluffy Butt, there is no name for name-calling. Speaking of name-calling, I'll remind you to call me Major, madam. Look, they can't help the feet the way that they are. It's lack of breeding, you know. Overbreeding, if you ask me. Again, Muellers? They're the elder cats, the island originals. They can't speak the way we can, hence the derogatory term, Muellers. And how are they to blame exactly? Well, if I knew that, there would be no need for this elaborate kidnapping. It's hardly proving to be a roaring success after all. Look, Kara, all we really know is that we are no longer safe on this island. The elders who live within the danger zone are hostile towards us. Not sure why, it's just always been that way. And now because cats are being taken, nowhere else is safe either. You expect the occasional mishap. We live in an undomesticated world here after all. But lately, cats have been disappearing almost every day. Even the last human we catified went missing. I'm sorry, what? Let's not open old wounds, Kibbles. Yes, onwards and upwards. Well, first things first. This werecat thing? Catification? Transition? Whatever. How does it work? Time passes, then you transform into a cat. Yeah. It's a gradual process. It's different for everyone, but you won't just turn overnight. The clock is ticking, however. The first side effect of the transition is being able to understand us. Well, some of us. Not the elders, obviously. Not all the domestics either. Then you have the whole heightened senses thing. The increased agility, the crazy body hair stuff. Let's not worry the human with all the details just yet. I assume there's an antidote? I'm afraid you're gonna be disappointed in that assumption. Hang on. You said there was someone else who you put in this position? Well, let's hope you're a better bet than they were. Unfortunately, they weren't able to discover an antidote or get our friends back. I know where their notes are, though. Really? Trade! Huh? You help us, and I'll give you their progress reports. So what do you say, Kara? Will you help us? Not much of a choice, really, is it? Afraid not. Okay, fine. So, where do I start? Is there anything you can tell me that will help me track down your missing friends? Will no one listen to sense? Start with the Muellers, and I'll eat my hat if it doesn't end there too. Don't mind him. He's set in his ways. We have every reason to believe the abductions take place in our part of the island. Yes, nowhere near the danger zone or the elders. Well, that doesn't make much sense. But I suppose nothing does around this place. My catalog starts beeping. Oh, my alarm! I have to get to work. You run along now. We don't want you arousing suspicious with your people. You can meet with us later. I'll make sure those reports are in your tent before this evening. Thanks, Kara. You're 1 in a million. I imagine the odds are far greater than that, given your new health status. Go! And thanks from all of us. After a rather painful journey, I am very grateful to finally limp into the camp. I have just enough time to get myself tidy up for work, and I'm about to peel off my filthy pajamas when I hear my catalog beeping. I have a message, but I can't tell who it is from. It's not from any of my contacts that Professor Popper programmed into it. In fact, there is no contact information at all. Are you sure it is wise to trust everyone? Anyone? What on earth does that mean? Actually, what does it mean? Because later on you start suspecting where these messages are coming from. You can sort of suspect their meaning, but I'm not too sure whether the person was speaking about just people or cats too, even having finished the game. Who is this? There's a lot you don't know. Think carefully about who you confide in. Before I can think of a reply, the messages are gone, and my catalog has no record of them. I don't have any time to think about this right now. I need to get ready. As soon as I'm presentable, I head over to the lab. I'm 10 minutes late. It doesn't give a good impression on my first morning. Ah! Robert! Good to see you. I was beginning to worry. Did you oversleep on your first day? I'm terribly sorry, sir. I think the traveling and all the excitement of yesterday. I take punctuality very seriously. He cuts across my apology. Not to worry, it's perfectly understandable. You'll find I'm quite relaxed about most things. As long as you get the work done, I don't mind much what hours you keep. Thank you, sir. So, shall we get started? My goodness, what on earth happened to you? He's looking at the scratches all over my hands. Oh, I felt and tried to save myself by grabbing onto a bush. Not a secret drinking, are you, Robert? Oh, no, sir. I'm a bit of a lightweight, to tell you the truth. Just teasing. We ought to get those hands sorted out, though. They look pretty nasty to me. He goes to the tall metal cabinet in the corner and takes out a bottle and some cotton wool. He begins cleaning and tending to my hands while he talks. For today, I'd like you to help me with a few tasks around the lab to get the hang of things. But from tomorrow, I'll let you make your own choices about what best to carve up your time. Of course, you're primarily here to carry out your job as my research assistant. However, try to make the most of your time on the island. Once your work is completed, we'll be saying goodbye. This really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so don't waste it all in the lab. Naturally, I need your help around here, but I also like you to get your hands dirty with some field work. Make sure you spend time exploring the island. It's a beautiful place, and there's a lot to see. Take the time to get to know the cats. A full understanding of their behavior is crucial to our research. There's plenty to see and do. However, you must be careful not to overwork. Take regular rest and relaxation. We don't want you to burn yourself out now, do we? I'll try to get the balance right. That's the spirit. So there you are. He's done a first-class job on my wounds, and they aren't bothering me nearly as much. I spent the rest of the day with the professor getting to know how the various pieces of equipment in the lab work, finding out where everything is, and learning some of the basic duties I will be performing routinely. By the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I make my way to the tent. I'm about to flop down on my bed when I see a package poking out from underneath it. It's the reports that Kibbles promised to deliver. Cats were right, the previous person barely made a start in producing the antidote. I'm gutted and worried. What if I can't do any better? Will I just turn into a cat? I decided that's not an option and resolved to get going on my research into it tomorrow. My instincts tell me that the cats will be a good starting point. I have a feeling that they know a lot more than they're prepared to tell me. I need to gain their trust and see if I can get them to open up a bit. I'm sure I'll make more progress if I focus on one at a time. I'm optimistic that one-on-one sharing will prove fruitful. It's a small glimmer of hope. Tonight I'm not fit for anything. I can barely even write in my journal before I fall asleep. The first morning of waking up on the island, I'm so excited to discover what the day will bring. Should I jump straight into my lab research, or maybe it would be wise to start investigating a way to help these cats and find a cure for myself? Perhaps a good starting point would be to get to know the cats a little bit better on a one-on-one basis.